12th hour Apostolic Sabbatarian Congregation, Mount Zion, the 12th hour in the Liberty Hill, Texas. Today is June 23, 2013, or it is the 15th day of the 4th month, 2017. We will start our second service on this first day of the week with a song entitled Ivory Palaces. God has gone so wondrous far, and where the texture filled, His fragrance reached to this heart of mine, with joy not being thrilled. Out of the ivory palaces into a world of woe, only His great eternal love made my Savior known. If life had also His sorrow sore, hollows had apart, and when I think the cross He bore, my teardrops start. Out of the ivory palaces into a world of woe, only His great eternal love made my Savior known. His garments too were in cassia dead, with healing hand tied. Each time my feet in some sin have slept, He turned me from this cross. Out of the ivory palaces into a world of woe, only His great eternal love made my Savior known. In garments glorious He will come to open wide the door, and I shall enter my heavenly home, to dwell forevermore. Out of the ivory palaces into a world of woe, only His great eternal love made my Savior known. Hello everyone, this is Elijah David. We're going to deal with our subject of what is Christianity, why, who may take a hold of it and who may miss it. Actually, we're in the subject of the conspiracy between Israel, Syria, and Syria. Syria is represented by the United States government. Syria is where it's at today in northern Israel. And Israel, the 10 tribes, that lives also in the north, next door neighbors to Syria, are conspiring with Syria to overthrow Judah and the south Jerusalem, as he told you before. Now we were dealing with War News Forecast. I'll show it to you again. Tracked by the B.T. Holiday. He wrote this about 1941 or 2, at the beginning of World War I, actually about 1943. Okay, and so, but the prophecy is found in Nahum mostly, but we're dealing right now with Isaiah, and this man-child, Emmanuel, the second son born unto Isaiah. His name was Emmanuel, born of the Spirit. The firstborn was Mahershala Hosbaz, that was born of the flesh, that represented the firstborn ever to be born again of the Spirit. So naturally he would represent the enemy then to the Emmanuels that had inherited the name of Yeshua as the Emmanuel of his day. He's the Messiah, he's the Emmanuel, he's a son born unto us, Isaiah 9. And so we might just turn and read for a prayer thought, Isaiah chapter 9. It says that, nevertheless, the damage shall not be such as was in her vexation, when at the first he lightly afflicted the land of the Zebulun, and the land of the Naphtali, and afterwards did more grievously afflict her by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan and the Galilee of the nations. Okay. For the people that walk in the darkness have seen a great light. Now what does it say about the word of Yahweh, which is Yeshua in the flesh, John chapter 1? It said, the light shone in darkness, and his darkness comprehended it not. Said he came to his own, and they didn't receive him. Okay. So he says in another place that he is that lighteth every man that cometh into the world. But Yeshua is the light of this world. So he has another title, light, the everlasting light. So now it says right here, the people that walk in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of the death, upon them hath the light shined. This is where we're at today, folks. We dwell in the land of the shadow of the death, right here in America, and all over the world. And unless we allow this light to shine upon our pathway, this is a true light, which is Yeshua in the Spirit at this time, shining through his kingdom that he has set up here with the kingdom of David that's been brought back from many centuries, has now been raised up in these last days, in this last parabolic hour, the 12th hour. So it goes on to say in verse 3 of Isaiah 9, Thou hast multiplied the nation and not increased the joy. They joy before thee according unto the joy in the harvest, and as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. For thou hast broken the yoke of his burden and the staff of his shoulder, for the rod of his oppressor, as in the day of the Midian, for every battle of the warrior is with a confused noise, and garments rolled in the blood. But this shall be with the burning and the fuel of the fire. For unto us a child is born. It says right here, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. So Yeshua has come back. He's this child that was born unto Judah, born into the house of Judah. Not to the house of Israel, the 10 tribes of the north. He's born right there in the south, by the Sea of Galilee. Okay. It says, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. What government? The government of Israel. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, of the mighty Yahweh Elohim the Father, of the everlasting Father, as as the prince of the peace, of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end upon the throne of David, and upon his kingdom to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Yeshua of hosts will perform this. The Son will come and perform it. Now, we are at the beginning of this infant kingdom. The little mustard seed, Matthew 13:31. This little stone hewn out of the mountain in Daniel 2. Now, it would behoove us right now to go and read Daniel chapter 2. Because this prophecy is in the midst of its fulfillment. Even as we speak, this prophecy now has been fulfilling for 10 years, since 2002. Because I represent this little stone that was hewn out that mountain of Israel, the Seventh Adventist Church in 2002, to come to Texas to get it at Senate. I represent that little stone because that stone is a symbol of a person. Okay. Now that is a stone. The cornerstone is a symbol of Yeshua in the temple. You'll find Paul talking about that in Ephesians 2:21 and 22 and other places. The cornerstone is Yeshua. But I am this little a stone hewn out of the mountain without hands. And did you know that I was in the process for 43 years, actually 32 years of being hewn out of that mountain and didn't even know it? Didn't have a clue until I came forth out of that mountain in 2002. So now, in Daniel chapter 2, this is very interesting. We need to deal with this everlasting kingdom that Nebuchadnezzar saw in vision and couldn't recall the dream. He was shown this kingdom of David that's speaking to you right now is represented, Elijah 30. Nebuchadnezzar was shown this kingdom. And it says there in Daniel chapter 2, and in the second year of the reign of the Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled and his sleep brake from him. And the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dream. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans unto the king in Syria, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. For the king answered and said unto the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. Okay. So he says, the thing is gone from me, if you will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. Now the king is very serious. He means business. And his astrologers and sorcerers and false dream interpreters are full aware now that they are about to be found out. Or they are truly being put to the test. And today that's going to be the same thing with all of these false prophets in Israel and in the world, because we have a prophecy right there in Zechariah 13 that says in these last days, when these false prophets and these soothsayers and sorcerers and astrologers and all of these false prognosticators of the future and of the prophecies, it says that if they continue on telling these lies, that even their mother and father is going to thrust them through with a sword. So, the time had come for the reality in Nebuchadnezzar's day that these wise men that was on his payroll being fed sumptuously with the king's dainties every day and living high on the hog, so to speak. I mean, they had it made. They were like these Catholic priests in the Catholic order. And they got big old stomachs on them. They're all pork eaters. And they're all wine drinkers and alcohol consumers. And they're all whoremongers. And that's what they got the nuns order there for. And they're all the abomination and filth of the earth, and they are eating sumptuously at the king's table, the Pope, because they vote on the things that the Pope wants passed and done, and so therefore he feeds them sumptuously. Okay, and they're for life most usually, these cardinals and these here high prelates in the Catholic work. Same thing with these Chaldeans, astrologers. Now, they were the highest order next to the king. Only thing is, they resented that they was only next to the highest order. Daniel was the highest order next to the king, and they resented that. Now watch Daniel come in here now and rescue these astrologers from sure death. And then for their thankfulness, for Daniel having done this for them, they devised a deception in which they got the king to go along with it, to have Daniel put to death. Get him out of the way so the astrologers could have number 2 place next to the king and his kingdom. Okay, so all these false prophets, same thing in Ahab's day. The king of the 10 tribes of Israel, Ahab, and Jezebel, his Zidonian priestess, high priestess, that came from the pagan country across the border of Israel and married the king of Israel, Ahab, and seduced him into idolatry and brought 450 of her false priests of Ashtoreth, brought them with her, and then they joined 400 false prophets of Ahab's Baal, and so Ahab 850 of these false soothsayers in his cabinet. I think Nebuchadnezzar had about 300. The old Ahab, well, he had 850. And so Yahweh brought them to a test one day, and they failed their test. They got found out. And boy, I mean, Elijah became the executioner that day, and he slew all 850 of them. Okay, so today all these soothsayers of Antipater Nebuchadnezzar, and I'm going to tell you something, Nebuchadnezzar now is ruling again in Babylon today. Antipater Nebuchadnezzar, just go and figure out which is the #1 man in the world right now. The most powerful man in the world right now is ruling over all the nations. And you'll know who Antipater Nebuchadnezzar is today. And he's got the soothsayers all around him. And he's got a bunch of Seventh-day Adventist soothsayers around him also, that you may not have been aware of. Okay, enough said on that. Let's continue on with our story here in Daniel 2 and find out what we really need to know. And I hope that that information I give you on that will kind of help you to understand that what was back then is a type of what will exist in these last days. It says in Ecclesiastes, Solomon said it. He said, that which has been shall be again, and there is no new thing under the sun. Okay? I think that may be in about Ecclesiastes 3:15. I think that's about where it's at. And so it's very interesting that you can go to any part of the Bible and pick up a quotation that talks about, well anyway, let's go ahead. Daniel chapter 2. So it says, and if, he says, the king answered and said unto the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If you will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation of it, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. And now when the king made a statement back then, and any time, it stood as law. And he couldn't go back on it. Unless something drastic happened to cause him to go back on it and rectify it. And if something good come along, he's going to carry it out. But if you show the dream and the interpretation of, you shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. He answered again and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation of it. Oh yeah, they know that they're going to have to come up with something. If they're going to spare their own lives, they're going to have to come up with something. Well, you know, those 850 false prophets of Baal that day up on Mount Carmel, Elijah put them to a challenge. The only thing that they could do is somehow get their gods to answer their prayers and ignite that sacrificial offering upon that altar that they were dancing around. And they danced around from the third hour of the day, the sacred hour, until the evening oblation at the ninth hour. So they danced around that altar for 6 hours, cutting themselves and just, and the blood was running down from them, demanding that their God wake up and listen to them. Let's go ahead and read about it. The king answered and said, I know of a certainty that you would gain the time, because you see the thing is gone from me. But if you will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you. For you have prepared the lying and corrupt words to speak before me, till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation thereof. Now in these last days, when this little stone comes forward, you think that Yahweh is going to allow these sorcerers and these soothsayers and these astrologers and these false prophets and all these, what do you call them, doomsayers, you think he's going to let them understand that this little stone in Daniel 2 is this certain person here that's the antitype of this vision that Nebuchadnezzar had? No, he's not going to do that. He's going to raise up prophets, because it says in Amos 3:7, surely Elohim will do nothing, but he revealed his secrets unto his servants the prophets. Okay, let's go on. Verse 10, Daniel chapter 2. For the Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter, therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asks such things at any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. These were all so-called magicians. Okay. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can show it before the king, except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh. Now they are aware that there is another power out there somewhere, but his dwelling is not here with flesh on this earth. Well, actually Daniel was right there in the kingdom, and he was in connection with these gods that they were talking about. So it says, for this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. Uh-oh. Now Daniel's in trouble. And the 3 Hebrew children, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, all 4 of those Hebrew children that were in captivity unto Nebuchadnezzar. He brought them into captivity because they were wise people, and he wanted them in his wise man's cabinet, along with all those other 300 soothsayers and astrologers and magicians and gainsayers and so forth, and interpreters of visions and dreams. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. So they went after Daniel, tried to get them all. And Daniel answered the counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of the Babylon. The answer said unto Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? And Arioch made the thing known unto the Daniel. And Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would show the king the interpretation. And Daniel went unto his house and made the thing known unto Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Now these are the names of the 3 Hebrew children that Nebuchadnezzar changed their names to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These were Chaldean names. And verse 18 of Daniel 2, that they would desire mercies of the Elohim of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of the Babylon. And was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision, and then Daniel blessed the Elohim of the heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of Elohim forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changes the times and the seasons, he removeth kings and sitteth up kings, he giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge unto them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things, he knoweth what is in the darkness, and light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou Elohim of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known unto me now what we desire of thee, for thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of the Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of the Babylon, and bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. Then the Arioch brought in to Daniel before the king in the haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of the Judah, and will make known unto the captain the interpretation. For the king answered and said unto Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, that's a Chaldean name that the king gave to Daniel, but Daniel surely didn't go by that name. The king did, but Daniel didn't. Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, For the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king? Verily there is a Elohim in the heaven that revealeth secrets, okay, and maketh known unto the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. And it goes on to say, As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed. What should come to pass hereafter? And he that revealeth secrets maketh known unto thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom, that I have more than any living. Verily for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation unto the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. The old king saw, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee. And the form thereof was terrible. For this image's head was of the fine gold, his breast and his arms of the silver, his belly and his thighs of the brass, his legs of the iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without the hand. Now, see, Nebuchadnezzar saw down to our day. For this stone typically was cut out in 2002. Cut out from that great mountain prophesied there in Zechariah 4:7. Who art thou, O great mountain? Question mark. Before Zerubbabel, the governor of Judah at that time, this great mountain shall become a plain. Well, what was that great mountain? That was the house of Israel. So it says, Thou sawest till that a stone, not the cornerstone representing Yahshua, but a stone representing symbolically and typical David. Was cut out without the hand, which smote the image upon his feet that were of the iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place is found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. Now, we can very well pull up this chart now, for you all to see, about this here great image. Here we have a chart. Hopefully we get that pretty quick. And so we'll have to see here. Okay. I was thinking we'd get to it pretty quick. There it is. This is this down here, this mountain of Israel. Okay. Now, Israel was not a great mountain at the time that this prophecy was made. Judah, the 2 tribes, was in captivity. And the 10 tribes had been for over 100 years in captivity in the north under Syria. So this mountain that represents Israel was not in existence then. So when Zechariah chapter 4, when he saw it in vision, he saw it here in the end time in the 12th parabolic hour. Okay. So now it goes on to say here, so that you'd have to look for the spiritual house of Israel today that is here fulfilling prophecy, and that would be the Adventist Church. The Adventist Church and her daughters that had succeeded her since 1844. And that would have to be the Adventists, the Davidian Adventists, the Shepherd Rod, 1930, and the Branch Davidian Shepherd Rod in 1970 to 2003. The third feeding passage I was a part of. Okay, that's part of Israel. That was a mountain that got planed off. In Zechariah 4, there's this here Gilead, Mount Gilead, Kermit, Texas. I see the Adventist Church, it took them 158 years to become a great mountain. They started out in their infancy in 1844, just a handful, a dozen or so. And it grew to, now it's about the place about 20 million people today in membership worldwide. Okay? So they became a great mountain by 2002, but their prophet, Boris Johnson, at Gilead Center, was their representative, was their voice of inspiration, because he was the angel of the 7th candlestick that belonged to the Adventist Church, the Laodicea. So he was representing this great mountain, the Seventh-day Adventists here at Gilead Center in 2002, when the little stone, Elijah David, was shooting out of this mountain of Israel, Gilead Center, 2002, and struck this image on the feet. Now, so if the mountain then was planed off after this little stone came out, which it was, well, where was this here? Where was this image at? This image represents the beast. And this beast had its influence here in this great mountain of Israel. So, this great mountain is the one that allowed this image of the beast to come into existence in our day, the Seventh-day Adventist Church. By her apostatizing over a 158-year period of time from 1844 to 2003, by her apostatizing, she allowed this great image to be set up again, which is the image of the beast. Okay, now, this image of the beast has 5 parts to him. Daniel only describes and identifies the 4 parts. He identifies the gold, the head, Nebuchadnezzar. He identifies the breast part of Medo-Persia that succeeded Rome. And then he identified Grecia that succeeded Medo-Persia as being the brass part. And then he identified Imperial Rome at the cross as these 2 legs of iron. The 2 legs represents that Rome came into existence at the cross, and now Rome went into the Dark Ages between 538 and 1798, and this other leg emerges of Rome in our day. These 2 legs of iron have a 2,000-year period that they're in existence. Whereas these here, 3 here, the gold, the silver, and the brass, only had their existence for a short period when they came on the scene. But when this imperial Rome, this fourth beast of Daniel's vision, came on the scene, he rules clear to the end of time. He rules clear down to these feet right here. Now these feet are partly mixed with iron and clay. Now we got a fifth part of a solid composite of material. We have the gold, the silver, the brass, the iron, and now we've got the clay. Now what does that clay represent? We identified the first four metals, okay, metallic metals, or what does that clay represent? Well, you might be interested to read with me Jeremiah 18, verse 6. You might find out what that clay represents. It says, O house of Israel, cannot I do with you as with this potter? Saith the Yahweh, behold, as the clay in the potter's hand, so are ye in mine hand, O house of Israel. So, that clay is in Yahweh's, the potter's hand. And that clay has been added to this this image. And the feet of it, the feet and the toes of clay, mixed with iron, mixed with Rome. Okay. Now we're in the days of these kings, these 10-toed kings right now. 12 parabolic yards set aside for these 10 toes representing all the kingdoms of the world. 10 is a universal number when you come to biblical numerology. Okay. Now it says right here in Daniel 2, verse 37, Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the Elohim of the heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. Okay, now we might bring this just a little bit closer. Get a little closer. A little closer, bring a little close-up view of it. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven, hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. Right here. Thou art this head of gold. Okay, and now this head of gold represents Babylon now. This is Babylon, the first kingdom after the flood, after Noah's flood. First kingdom, represented by gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior unto thee, and another, a third kingdom of brass, right here, Grecia. Second one be the Persian. Okay, which shall bear rule over all the earth. Now this kingdom of brass bears rule over all the earth too. Okay. At another time. And the fourth kingdom, imperial Rome, represented by these two legs of iron, shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of the potter's clay, which is Israel. Now Israel's part of this image. And look what happened to this image when this here kingdom of David came up in here in the 12th parabolic hour. Was seen out of here. The God's hand strikes this image on the feet, and now this house that is this house right here is represented by this clay right here. This is Israel. It's written on Zechariah 4:7. And these the clay in these feet, the clay in these feet, hopefully you can see it all right, is also the same thing as this mountain. Okay. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of the potter's clay and part of the iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay, mixed with Israel, Rome in this last day, this second leg, iron leg, this last day, show where Rome is predominantly in charge again. She has the power of these feet. She's the power for this clay that she's mingled with. And as the toes of the feet were part of the iron and part of the clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. So, this here kingdom of the Seventh-day Adventists is made up of her three daughters, Bashan, Carmel, and Gilead, that succeeded her. They have prophecies that they've unfolded, and this is what makes them partly strong and partly broken. All right? And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with the miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with the clay. Okay. But you know what? Even though they mix themselves, Rome mixed themselves with the Adventist church, this clay, they still can't cleave together. Because Yahweh says you bring forth 144,000 out of that clay of Israel. And that constitutes that clay not cleaving with that to that iron. It's just 144,000 coming forth. Okay. And in the days of these kings shall the Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left unto other people. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. That's what this kingdom of David has been set up for right now. First, it starts right here in the United States. And it's going to break this here beast kingdom that's set up here in Washington, D.C. That's what we've been set up for right now and brought forth. Yahshua is the chief cornerstone of this building. Okay? I'm just a stone in the building. Peter talks about this. He says, you are built up of lively stones in this temple in the last day. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain, without the hands, or that it just came forth supernaturally on this mountain. And bingo, it hits this here image right there on the feet. Okay? Showing that the New World Order, this beast that is in charge of this image right here, that's in the feet of this image. This is where the beast is set up also. The beast is set up also here in these feet. And whenever this stone hit him, there goes the beast. Okay. That's what it says right there in Revelation, that these 10 horns, which represents all the kingdoms of the world, and then they powered that beast for 1 hour, and they had power 1 hour with the beast. They said, Yahweh put it into their hearts to do this to fulfill His will, and to accomplish what had to be accomplished. He put that in the heart of our Congress and Senate, our Democrats and Republican parties, the two-party system represented by this two-horned beast of Revelation 13, the lamb-like beast, that speaks as a lamb. He has the appearance of a lamb, but he speaks as a dragon. Okay. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain, the house of David, this little stone right here, represented by Elijah David, a person, that has to unfold these prophecies. Literally, I have a voice and a mouthpiece of inspiration to unfold these prophecies. Okay. That's the reason why this stone is represented by a person. Okay. And that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold. The great Elohim hath made known unto the king which shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof is sure. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. Oh boy, you see how Yahweh can change the king's decree immediately? And when the 3 Hebrew children failed to bow down to that image that Nebuchadnezzar set up, he ordered them to be thrown in the fiery furnace, and they went into the fiery furnace. But they came out with their helper, the 4th person, which was one like a son of man, and Nebuchadnezzar testified to that. He said, come hither, come out of that furnace. Okay? And then he commanded that everybody bow down to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's God. Same thing he told them to do with Daniel. Okay? The king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is that your Elohim is an Elohim of deities, and a king of kings, and a revealer of the secret, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. Okay. Then the king made Daniel a great man and gave him many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of the Babylon, and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. And Daniel requested the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of the Babylon, but Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Okay. So, what are we to conclude out of all of this? We are to conclude that this prophecy is unfolding today, even as we speak. And how is it done? We can go to Hosea, Amos, let's see, 3:7, and it says, surely Yahweh Elohim will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. Okay. So now, this is a secret. The unfolding of this prophecy here is a secret. Now, Daniel, over here in Daniel 8 and 9, 7, 8, and 9, he's having more dreams and visions, but he's not understanding them, and he's in great consternation over it. And he already told him, Daniel, seal the book and go thy way. Okay. He said, at the time of the end shall be the vision. So now, Daniel had to settle for that. Apparently, the time of the end wasn't going to happen in his day, so Daniel went ahead and was contented with that. But Daniel seen visions all the way through, and it's interesting to note that here in Daniel 11, well, we won't get into that at this time, I don't suppose. There's too much to have to bring out there, talking about these two kings, king of the north and king of the south. And we'll just have to deal with that at another time. So now, let's go back, and now let's read a little bit about our study for the day. Time of reading, volume 2, number 45. B.T. Harder for giving us, and actually we're in the War News Forecast as a complimentary article in that with Isaiah, with this time of greetings, and we might just go ahead and turn to page 33 in this War News Forecast and continue where we left off in our last study. It says, let's back up to the review. It says, number 3, the lands Israel and Syria, which Judah abhorred, were to be forsaken of both their kings. All right. So today we have this prophecy unfolding today. Syria has got a king, and they're trying to overthrow him. Okay, it says they're going to be forsaken of both their kings, meaning the kings are going to get up and they're going to flee out of there. So look for Assad to find a way to get out of there before his kingdom topples, of the king of Syria today. Okay, so it says, conquered by the king of Assyria. Now, the king of Assyria today is the president of the United States. Okay? And so before Emmanuel, and this Emmanuel now represents people like me that belongs to the army of Yeshua. We have his name, Emmanuel, and he's using us today to unfold these prophecies. So it says the king of Assyria will take over Syria, and Assad, today the president of Syria, will have to flee out of it. He wants to save his life. Because Obama, the President of the United States, has already gone in and overthrown Libya and Egypt and at least 12 different Arab nations over here have been subdued by Obama so far. So Syria is just one of them. So anyway, if Syria hadn't got with Israel to come down and overthrow Judah, again, then that would have been a different story. But because Syria was complicit with Israel and Assyria, okay. Remember that when the Catholic Church was in charge during the Dark Ages, from 538 to 1798, remember that in the midst of her rule in 1500 AD, she had about 300 more years to go before her time was up, but she was ruling the world, ecclesiastical Rome, the Catholic Church. Martin Luther, the Catholic monk, had a vision and dream about the truth. He read the scriptures right there while he was in the cathedral there of Rome. He read in the scriptures where you're saved by grace through the blood of Yeshua. That converted him out on the spot, and that doctrine he left out of the Catholic Church with that doctrine and turned around and broke the back of the Catholic Church and their civil power and put them out of business. So it says that inspiration shows that Assyria came in and worked through Martin Luther to break the power of the Catholic Church. Said the Assyrian king. Okay. So the Assyrian was used to break the power of Israel and Syria's conspiracy. So now Assyria today is used to break the power of the homeland of the United States and the Catholic stronghold on this homeland. So again, we've got Assyria coming in from another country, overthrowing our borders, coming in here, and now is vexing the Catholic Church that is virtually taken complete control of this land. But the Assyrian, the Muslim, have come in here and got the reins and the power, and they sit in the White House, and they're the most powerful people on earth now. And they represent, in Daniel 11, they represent the king of the south, the Arab nation. And the Catholic Church, the Pope, represents the king of the north there in Daniel 11. So these are two antagonists against each other. And one is always looking to get the upper hand and overthrow the other. In this case, the king of the south, Obama and company, has come from across the borders. They've come in here, and they have overthrown the king of the north, the Pope that has taken rulership of this land. Pope Paul is the one that took rulership of it for the Vatican back in the 80s. Okay? Or maybe it was the 90s even. Okay, so now, here we have it again, a repeat of this here. Before Manuel was to be able to refuse the evil and choose the good, this is the house of David now, represented by the second son of Isaiah. Emmanuel, the first one is Maher-Shalal-Hash-Baz. Before Maher-Shalal-Hash-Baz was to be able to say, my father and my mother, but the simple historical fact that these two kingdoms were overthrown centuries before, okay, that was Maher-Shalal-Hash-Baz, the firstborn of Isaiah, was a representative of the Muslim nations. He was an antitypical Ishmaelite that was born in Abraham's house of the Egyptian mother. So, the Maher-Shalal-Hash-Baz was a representative of the descendants of the Ishmaelites, the Arab nation, king of the south, and the Emmanuel, the second born under Isaiah, represents the king, represents the house of Israel, that was to emerge and overthrow all of these kingdoms. That's the king of the north, the Catholic Church, the beast, and the king of the south, the Muslim. The king of the south is represented by this woman that rides the back of that beast, the king of the north. That's another point we hadn't seen before. The king of the south is represented by that woman, Babylon, riding the back of that beast that represents the Catholic Church. You know the end of them. It says that the beast and the false prophet were cast alive into the lake of fire. And it says that Babylon, mystery Babylon, those 10 horns that represent all the nations of the world that then the power of that beast would run out, said when they seen that she has failed to deliver them in the end, they turn on her and eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So that brings it to the end, the king of the north and the king of the south. The king of the north, the beast, the Catholic Church, the king of the south, Mahershala Hardball, the firstborn of Isaiah. Okay? Represents the king of the south, and the king of the north is represented by the Catholic Church. Represented by this beast, Rome here, this iron, that reaches down to the end time, to the feet time. They all come to their end. And this here slow stone represents the house of David. And David, collectively, is the one that brings this whole system to an end. Okay, so now it says, but the simple historical fact that these two kingdoms were overthrown centuries before Emmanuel was even born brings a time discrepancy which can be reconciled only by the conclusion that all four nations, Judah, two tribes, house of David, kingdom of David, Israel, the 10 tribes, kingdom of Ephraim, Joseph's descendants in the north, Syria, that's also in the northern Israel, and Assyria, which is across the borders from Israel in Mesopotamia. So Judah, Israel, and Syria are part of Israel's land. But the Assyria that overthrows all of these is from across the border and the land of the heathen. Involved in this historical action were typical of 4 others that were to arise sometime following Emmanuel's birth, or after his birth. Israel and Syria were to be conquered by Assyria. And what is happening today? Assyria is conquering both Syria and Israel, until Zechariah 14 comes to pass, and that's the battle of Armageddon, when all nations are gathered against Israel. And Assyria is this king that gathers all nations against Israel in these last days, for that last great battle and conflict found in Zechariah 14. And when you read that, you'll find out that Assyria then comes to her end, after she gets all nations to come to try to destroy Israel, then Assyria comes to her end. This brings us close. Let's do this hour context. It's at the 11th hour call. It's number 11. Click on our audio archives. Now we're going to close with a song entitled Just When I Need Him Most. Just when I need Him, Joshua is near. Just when I falter, just when I fear, ready to help me, ready to cheer. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Joshua is there to comfort and cheer, just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him, Joshua is true, never forsaking all the way through, giving for burden, pleasures anew. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Joshua is there to comfort and cheer. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him, Joshua is strong, bearing my burdens all the day long. For all my sorrow, giving her song, just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Joshua is near to comfort and cheer, just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him, He is my all. Answering when up on Him I call, tenderly watching lest I should fall, just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Joshua is near to comfort and cheer, just when I need